So it works like that? Yeah. Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
My first car was a little red convertible with a ripped roof, a 5-speed manual, and 130,000 miles. I got it for a couple $1,000 bucks, but my 2000 Mazda Miata was a real ripper. I was sideways around every corner and my friends were always hanging off the back. It was a great time, but it was painfully slow. How would I change that? Boost, forced induction. I'm credible to tell you about this topic today because I've owned and worked on multiple Miatas. Your reason to listen is that this will make you smarter. First, I'm going to tell you about the stock Miata engine. Then, I'm going to tell you about the concept of forced induction. After which, you're going to hear about turbochargers, and finally, you're going to learn about superchargers. After hearing about Miatas, it's time for me to tell you more about their engines. Right here, you can see an unmodified Miata engine. This means it is a stock engine. Any engine that comes from the automotive manufacturer without being changed since it leaves the factory is considered stock. These are usually the most reliable engines. Engines are what provide power to your car. According to Pavan Raja, a top researcher at Rice University, combustion is the reaction between fuel and air to generate energy. Combustion is how your engine makes power to move your car. It draws fuel from the gas tank and air from the air intake, mixes them together inside, and then a series of small explosions generate energy inside the engine. This allows your car to move. Now that you know how the engine works, let us learn about forced induction. Right here on the engine, you can see this black tube, this black box. That is an air intake. That's where the air enters the engine. It breathes it in. In this next picture, I have modified the engine by removing that black tube and black box and replacing it with a much shorter aftermarket intake that I fabricated. By doing this, I'm allowing the air to enter the engine faster. Faster, better response. But still, the engine is drawing air through its own power. Forced induction is the process of increasing the air density inside the engine. More air means more fuel can be combusted, means more power is generated. Devices that increase this air density include turbochargers and superchargers. These are essential to boost forced induction. Now that you know what forced induction is, let's talk turbos. Here's some turbochargers. They look like snails, a little bit. You can see they have those fans inside. According to Trevor Spedden, an automotive expert at Kelley Blue Book, turbochargers use exhaust gas to spin a turbine attached to a second turbine that sucks air into the engine. Turbochargers can explode. Those metal fans can send chunks flying into your engine, damaging it and breaking it. This is very rare and from the manufacturer usually will not happen. Turbochargers will create a psh or sound when you let off the gas. This is also a big draw for turbochargers for some people. When exhaust gas is flowing into a turbo, it spins the wheel, generating speed. More exhaust gas means more turbo speed, means more power, more air. So, when you have held the gas down for longer, once you start driving the car, the turbo will give you boost later on. This is known as turbo lag. I'll demonstrate. That's turbo lag kicking in. So turbos can generate a lot of power, high end. Finally, after understanding the turbo, I will tell you about superchargers. Right here is my Mazda Miata with a supercharger attached. This big black box attached to this tube with the air filter on the end has replaced the previous air intake section of the engine that you saw. It functions like a large air pump. There are multiple different types of superchargers contrary to turbos, which are always just a snail shape. This supercharger is sort of a fan. It blows air into the engine at the same rate that the engine would receive air before, but much more dense. According to David Fuller, an automotive writer on all cylinders. Superchargers produce a more even and instant power delivery. This is very good for replicating the initial feel of a car's drivability, which is why I chose it for my Miata. And it's used in a lot of applications such as big trucks for towing a vehicle or a load. Now that you know about superchargers, let's go over what I informed you about today. First, I told you about the stock Miata engine. Then you learned about the concept of forced induction. After this, you learned about turbochargers. And finally, you learned about superchargers. There's lots of different cars that are boosted on the road. Some of you probably drive boosted cars. And there's specifically lots of different cars that have superchargers, such as the Ram TRX, the Ford Mustang Shelby GT500, the Dodge Hellcat, and my 2002 Mazda Miata. So the next time that you're out on the road, or at a car meet maybe, and you see a little cute car with a smile on the front and a tiny engine, just know there might be enough power under that hood to beat out a brand new Mustang in a drag race. Just listen for the sound of the turbo or the supercharger.